scared, dog, that you come at me with a stick?
By the Lord God of Israel, I'll fight you without sword or spear.
Shalom, shalom. I want to start by giving our praises to the Lord Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rukakadash. My name is Brother Napot from the Carrot Prophets in Babylon, here in Tampa Bay, Florida. And I want to get double honor to elders and apostles, a great millstone, peace and blessings to the whole full elect. I want to get into a short, quick lesson, and I want to call it, with faith, you can't miss. Alright, with faith you can't miss, man. And as you see with the video that I put in the beginning, you had David, taking down Goliath with a stone, a slingshot stone. Alright, and all it took was faith, man. Where he was able to, take off all the armor, the artillery. He rejected all of that, and he literally just used a stone to take down a 9 feet giant, man. All right, you 9 feet, man. You're a giant, man. All right, and Goliath was 9 feet, man. That was a 9-foot Hamite, But, David did it, man. He had the whole army that was faint-hearted, about the whole thing when Goliath came out. But you had a 12-year-old boy, all right, a child, come through to be able to take down the Goliath, man. All right, but what I'm gonna do is, I don't want to get into the whole story of David and Goliath, but I want to get a few of the scriptures from the story, because it's gonna, that's the whole class, man. It's a long chapter, but if I could find. I was going to start off at this is 1 Samuel chapter 17 and verse 23. It says, and as he talked with them, all right, this is talking about David, behold, there came up the champion, the Philistine of Gath, Goliath, by name, out of the armies of the Philistines, and spake according to the same words. And David heard them. And all the men of Israel, when they saw the man, fled from him, and were sore afraid. All right, so when Goliath stepped up, and he came through, David seen him, man, and everyone else, fled. David was, stood there, stood his ground, But all the other men, the grown men, fled, because they were sore afraid, man. It says, and the men of Israel said, have ye seen this man that is come up? Surely to defy Israel is he come up. And it shall be that the man who killeth him, the king will enrich him with great riches, and will give him his daughter, and make his father's house free in Israel. All right. So you said, have you seen, the dude that defied Israel? come up. That guy's big. He's huge. He's a warrior, man. All right. And the king, which was Saul at the time, he said that king would enrich him with riches and even give him his daughter, man. All right. For the one that killeth Goliath. And it said, and make his father's house free in Israel. It says, and David spake to the man that stood by him, saying, what shall be done to the man that killeth this Philistine, and taketh away the reproach from Israel? It says, for who is this uncircumcised Philistine that he should defy the armies of the living God? So David was like, what shall be done unto the man that killeth this Philistine, man? All right. Who reproach Israel, man. All right, who come against Israel, comes against the Lord's people, man. And he was like, he said, for it, who is this uncircumcised Philistine that should defy the armies of the living God? So who is this, man? He's nothing compared to the Lord, man. He's nothing compared to the armies of the Lord, man. All right. It says, and the people answered him after this manner, saying, so shall it be done to the man that killeth him. It says, and Eliab, his eldest brother, heard when he spake unto the man, and Eliab's anger was kindled against David, and he said, why camest thou down hither? And with whom hast thou left those few sheep in the wilderness? All right, so David's older brother, he was like, why are you here, man? What happened with the sheep? That you were supposed to be watching over, in the wilderness. It says, I know thy pride and the naughtiness in thine heart, for thou art come down that thou mightest see the battle. All right, so he was like, hey, I know your pride, I know your naughtiness of your heart. You just trying to come down here and you want to see this battle, So he's telling David, you got to get out of here. You know what I'm saying? Basically belittling, David, because he's a child, man. It says, and David said, what have I now done? Is there not a cause? And he turned from him toward another and spake after the same manner. And the people answered him again after the former manner. And when the words were heard which David spake, they rehearsed them before Saul. And he sent for him. And David said to Saul, let no man's heart fail because of him. Thy servant will go and fight with this Philistine. Whew. All right. So David, this kid, comes up to Saul the king, and he says, hey, let no man's heart fail because of this Philistine, because of Goliath, but thy servant, David will go and fight with the Philistine. And Saul said to David, thou art not able to go against this Philistine to fight with him, for thou art but a youth, and he a man of war from his youth. So you say, you can't do that. You can't fight, the Goliath. You know what I'm saying? But you're just a child, man. And this guy was a man of war from his childhood, man. All right. Now it says, and David said unto Saul, thy servant kept his father's sheep, and there came a lion and a bear and took a lamb out of the flock. And I went out after him and smote him and delivered it out of his mouth. And when he arose against me, I caught him by his beard and smote him and slew him. Thy servant slew both the lion and the bear, and this uncircumcised Philistine shall be as one of them. So they were saying, it was there was a lion, and a bear that came and took the lamb out of the flock, the sheep out of his flock, and he slew both the lion and the bear, man. Grabbed caught the bear by his beard, and smote and slew the lion. It's lucky, not the bear, but the lion by his beard, and smote him and slew him, man. All right. It says, thy servant slew both the lion and the bear, And this uncircumcised Philistine shall be as one of them, seeing he hath defied the armies of the living God. David said, moreover, the Lord hath delivered me out of the paw of the lion and out of the paw of the bear. It said, he will deliver me out of the hand of this Philistine. And Saul said unto David, go, and the Lord be with thee. So Saul said, all right, kid, since you didn't sue a lion, both lions and the bear, are both the lion and the bear, go ahead, show me what you can do against this 9-foot giant. And Saul armed David with his armor and put a helmet of brass upon his head. Also he armed him with a coat of mail. And David girded his sword upon his armor, and he essayed to go, for he had not proved it. And David said unto Saul, I cannot go with these, for I have not proved them. And David put them off of him. So, the armor he had, so David didn't approve it, man. It says he took his staff in his hand and chose him 5 smooth stones out of the brook. So he says he didn't approve of that armor. Because really, David think like, this armor only gonna slow me down, man. All right, I don't need this armor, But instead, he took the staff and he took 5 stones with him out of the brook. It says, and put them in the shepherd's bag, which he had, even in a scrip. It says, and his sling was in his hand, and he drew near to the Philistine. And the Philistine came on and drew near unto David. And the man that bare the shield went before him. And when the Philistine looked about and saw David, he disdained him. All right, for he was but a youth, and ruddy, and of a fair countenance. All right, so when the Philistine seen, David, he was like, he disdained David, man. Because he was a kid. He thought of him as unworthy, man. Are just not even worthy to even fight, man. All right. So he really underestimated David, man. It says, and the Philistine said unto David, am I a dog, that thou comest to me with staves? And the Philistine cursed David by his gods. So the Philistine was mad. Started to cuss David out by his gods, man, because he felt like he was being, insulted, man, played with, joked about, man. So. And the Philistine said to David, come to me, and I will give thy flesh unto the fowls of the air, and the beasts of the field. Then said David to the Philistine, thou comest to me with a sword, and with a spear, and with a shield, but I come to thee in the name of the Lord. Ooh. So, but I came to thee in the name of the Lord of hosts, the God of the armies of Israel, whom thou hast defied. So David was like, you come to me with this shield, all this artillery, these weapons and shit, but I come with you in the name of the Lord, man. All right, I'll come to you in the name of the Lord, man. And the God of the armies of Israel. It says, this day will the Lord deliver thee into my hand, and I will smite thee, and take thine head from thee, and I will give the carcasses of the host of the Philistines this day unto the fowls of the air. So basically, he said, I'm a slave, man. All right, and give your carcasses into the fowls of the air. So the vultures and shit, eat his body up off the ground. All right. So David was talking his mess, man. David was talking his junk. It says, and to the wild beasts of the earth that all the earth may know that there is a God in Israel. Alright. It says, and all this assembly shall know that the Lord saveth not with sword and spear, for the battle is the Lord's. He will give you into our hands. And it came to pass, when the Philistine arose and came and drew nigh to meet David, and David hastened and ran toward the army to meet the Philistine, and David put his hand in his bag and took thence a stone, and slang it, and smote the Philistine in his forehead, and that stone sunk into his forehead, and he fell upon his face to the earth. So David prevailed over the Philistine with a sling and with a stone, and smote the Philistine and slew him. But there was no sword in the hand of David. All right, man. So you had it where the Philistine, start to come towards, draw nigh to David, man. All right. And David hastened and he slew him with that stone and slung it, and it smote the Philistine's forehead, man, where it started to sink into the Philistine's forehead. It says, so David prevailed over the Philistine with a sling and with a stone, and smote the Philistine and slew him. But there was no sword in the hand of David. All right, there was no sword in the hand of David, man. In a child's hand, there was no sword, but a stone. And with that stone carried, the faith, And what David says, I come to you in the name of the Lord of hosts. All right. The God of the army of Israel, man. All right. He didn't say I come to you with the stone, or with the sword or anything else, but the name of the Lord, man, and the faith in the Lord. All right. And in no time, he slew the Philistine, Goliath. Now it says, therefore David ran and stood upon the Philistine, and took his sword, and drew it out of the sheath thereof, and slew him, and cut off his head therewith. And when the Philistines saw their champion was dead, they fled. So David, did the final execution, man. All right, and executed and slew the Philistine, man, the Goliath. All right, he finished him. It says, and the men of Israel and of Judah arose and shouted, pursued the Philistines until thou come to the valley and the gates of Ekron, and wounded the Philistines, fell down by the way of Sharaim, even unto Gath and unto Ekron. All right. So, right there, man, as you see it, I'm not trying to get the whole. I'm not gonna try to get the whole thing. But yeah, man, if you do got time, read that story in your own time, man. The whole thing, because it's a good and it's a beautiful story, man. But with faith, all right. With faith, was he able to slay the Goliath, man? And with faith alone in the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahushai, David was able to go towards the Goliath and slay him with a stone and a slingshot with no fear at all. And everyone else was, sore afraid of the Goliath. David stood his ground. Let me see if I can find this real quick. I can't find that scripture, man, but kind of just gonna keep going on. Get this precept right here. This is Luke chapter 1 and verse 37. It says, for with Yahweh nothing shall be impossible. All right. So even with the Lord Yahweh, nothing was impossible. nothing is impossible, man. All right, having the faith, you know, just having, complete faith in Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, anything is possible, man. All right. That even David was able to take down a 9-foot giant while he was only but a child, man. And David was small. David was small, man. And he was able to slay that giant, man. Through the name of the Lord, Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, and having a faith in the Lord, man. Alright. Now, I want to get this. I'm going to close out with this right here. It says, 1 Corinthians chapter 2 and verse 5 says that your faith should not stand in the wisdom of man, but in the power of Yahweh. Alright. Now that wisdom of man, being logic, man. Alright. To think logically how man would think, man. Alright. So when you see things, that you don't think you can do, you also just say it's impossible to do, and you don't try it, man. Alright. But through the power of Yahweh, man, we have faith in, man. Alright. So ultimately, man, we don't think logically, man. We are faith-based Israelites, man. Alright. We have faith that nothing's impossible, man. That through the Lord we can get through anything, man. Alright. That's how David thought, man. Alright. He didn't have faith in the wisdom of man, because in the wisdom of man, they would say he was too young, too small, too prideful and arrogant to even try to slay the Goliath, man. But David wasn't powerful at all, man. David just had faith. David just knew that he could win through the Lord Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, man. Alright. But come on, man, that's all I want to get on that. I just want to get into a short, quick lesson. Hope this was edifying until the hopeful elect. I want to give all praises to the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua Ba'ashem Kakadash. And get double ourselves apostles of great millstone once again. Peace and blessings to the hopeful elect. Shalom.